Hi everyone, welcome to the review of week 3 of Understanding Language, Learning and Teaching. My name is Tina and I've been one of your FutureLearn language tutors on this course. Currently I'm living in a beautiful part of Italy with my husband and 2 teenage children. Previously I lived in Hong Kong where I worked for the British Council and the Hong Kong Polytechnic University as an English teacher. I'm now moderator for the British Council team website where I also create materials for them. The first 3 weeks have flown by. We've had another fantastic week this week with nearly 40,000 people have joined the course so far. And already 1,500 of you have finished the course, so well done to you. There have been nearly 60,000 comments posted, and by Wednesday of this week there are around 4,000 comments just in this week alone. Week 3 has been all about technology in language learning and teaching. Paul Braddock joined us from the British Council and explored ideas around the use of technology in language learning. This has created an awful lot of discussion with you, especially in 3.3, which David is going to talk to you about a little later on. Your interaction with each other has been wonderful to follow. I also wanted to say a big thank you to those of you who took part in the Facebook discussion, and I hope you enjoyed it. I have noticed this week that the motivation and managing your time effectively again has played a big part in your discussions, especially in 3.4, online learning and languages, and 3.5, engaging with online learning. Many of you agreed that it was possible to learn a language online, but there are quite a few of you who felt face-to-face was still essential and it was important to interact with other learners. The topic of age was also mentioned, with some of you pointing out that it worked better with more mature students, like myself, and didn't work so well with younger ones. It also provided a safe learning environment for shy students, and that flexibility from an online language course was often highlighted, as was being able to focus on the areas that you were most interested in. I particularly like this comment from Tricia Healy, who wrote, "Online learning is very useful, for example, in learning standard grammar and the rules of language. For these areas, there are a million resources online, but it is true that it is hard to advance your language learning by only sitting in front of a computer. The real world experiences of random conversation in public, of conversation exchange classes or oral examinations given by a person or by a teacher are also invaluable in the comprehension learning of a language." She also wrote that "I think we should view classroom and online learning as complementary, not in competition with each other." Thank you again for taking part in this course. I've really enjoyed it and I hope you have. I look forward to reading more of your comments in week 4, our last week, unfortunately, but the week is about language in use, global English. I'll see you there. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Gatrell, and I'm one of the other tutors on Understanding Language. My background's in English teaching and teacher training, and now I work here in Hong Kong in online teacher development. Something I'm really interested in is how we can use technology in teaching and learning, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to be a tutor on this course. I've really enjoyed this week, and as usual, what I've enjoyed most is reading and responding to your posts in the discussions. Thanks for all your contributions, and thanks too for taking part in the 2 live sessions with me and my colleagues. I'd like to draw your attention to 2 particularly interesting discussions that have been taking place. The first is about using mobile phones in and out of the classroom. Thanks a lot, Jacqueline Morawski, for kicking this one off. Jacqueline gets her young adult students to talk to each other about pictures on their phones, their lives, families, what they did at the weekend. This is a great way to get students using the language for meaningful, authentic communication, and it's much more motivating than talking about some pictures in a course book. Students can also use their phones to record each other and work on their pronunciation, or take a photo to learn the meaning of a new word. If your students have got smartphones, check out some of the tools mentioned by Hong, Miguel Angel and Nancy, which you can use to create quizzes. Or use some of the other apps mentioned in the thread to get your students working together to create content. If your school doesn't allow mobile phones in the classroom, there are thousands of great language learning apps students can download and use outside the classroom. The other discussion was started by Claire Griffin, and it's about something I think we can all relate to as participants on this course: time management in online learning. If, like Claire, you find a course is taking you more time than you'd expected, Steve White offers some good advice. Focus on the topics and discussions that interest you most, and remember, you can come back to look at other resources after the course has finished. Connie Au-Yeung also has an excellent tip. When learning online, instead of one mammoth session, try to divide up your time into smaller daily slots. Many of the online tutors I work with agree that it's much more manageable if you log in little and often. I hope you find this advice useful as we head into the fourth and final week of the course, in which we'll be looking at global English. Keep up the great work, and I'm looking forward to reading more of your posts over the next 7 days.